Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, Cito Beltran, welcoming you to the program agenda here on Cignal TV channels 8 and 250. Thank you for joining us and thank you for subscribing to Cignal TV. And please do join us. And for those who don't have Cignal TV yet, please subscribe because you will find the lineup of different programs and offerings of Cignal TV very entertaining, informative, and very useful, which is what we here on Agenda try to achieve daily. Now, those of you who don't have Signal, you can watch us via facebook.com/onenewsph. Pakishare na rin po. And you can also watch via YouTube, One News PH. We replace at 5 o'clock in the afternoon and also on weekends. Thank you also to PLDT Home Fiber Optic Internet for giving us the continuing support and quality internet. Thank you also to our friend Mr. Marco Borlongan. Okay, now today is November 9, 2021. It's Tuesday, and let's, excuse me. Nagmamadali. Let's begin the day with our daily starter. And I will give thee the treasures of darkness and the hidden riches of secret places, that thou may know that I, the Lord, which called thee by thy name, am the God of Israel. That is from Isaiah 45:3. Now, for those of you who are wondering, what does God or Isaiah mean by the treasures of darkness and hidden riches of secret places? Well, marami pong mga nangyayaring sitwasyon where by sharing the gospel to people who are, living on the other side of the fence, so to speak, we are able to convert them, transform them, and ultimately, whatever wealth they have, they share with the believers of Christ or of the faith. Now, that is one. And also, there are situations where God uses our position, our influence in order to be able to gain access to certain individuals who in turn can help in helping others. Hindi po ito about riches for you to pocket or riches for you to hide. Meron pong mga yaman na dumadating sa pintuan nyo. There's money and resources that come to you not because God wants to make you so rich, but so that you can be a blessing to others. So, wag po tayong maging judgy. Let's not be judgmental of others, but rather, with love, let us reach out to others and let us keep our eyes open and let's not just presume, I don't want to be involved with those people or with that kind of thing, because sometimes God will use those people to bless His people. So yon, I will give thee the treasures of darkness and hidden riches of secret places, that thou mayest know that I, the Lord, which call thee by thy name, am the God of Israel. Okay, so that's our daily starter for the day. Now let's go to the front page of the Philippine Star. And the headline of the Philippine Star: Metro Manila mayors recommend easing of face shield policy. ISCO scraps mandatory use in Manila. The Metro Manila Council last Sunday came to an agreement that they will recommend to the IATF, in support of the position of DILG Secretary Ed Anyo, that face shields, yung mga plastic po na ngayon ay nagkalat na sa mga basurahan, should no longer be mandatory and only be required in hospitals, in barangay health clinics, and in public utility vehicles. So if you are a commuter, namamasahe po kayo, do not throw away your face shields because you may still need them. And also, please, maniguro na kayo. At, be careful because we are not yet done with COVID-19. It's still going to be around, and God forbid if there is another surge, it will all, the command center will once again say, Captain Spock, shields down. Okay, so that's the headline of the Philippine Star. Let's go to the header. No vax, no subsidy needs law. According to needs an amendment of the law according to Malacanang. In a proposal, the DILG suggested that those who do not have vaccination should not be allowed to receive their subsidy under the 4Ps or Pantawid Pamilyang Pilipino program. Now, that became a point of anger for Senator Franklin Drilon and Malacanang. On the other hand, he said we need to amend the law so that they can insert the requirement that you must be vaccinated. Kasi naman po, under the 4Ps, to be honest, the family gets the money based on the requirement that the children go to school, that the housewife undergoes maternity exams, healthcare, etc., etc. So, kumbaga, dinagdag lang naman po yung vaccination. So, we shall see what we shall see. Going back to the front page of the Philippine Star. Okay, do not be alarmed. First Kappa variant detected in the Philippines. Based on a sampling of 700 plus samples, it seems that the Genome Center detected the first ever Kappa variant in the Philippines. However, okay, the first Kappa variant known as B.1.617.1 was found from a patient from Florida Blanca, Pampanga. But it was originally a variant of interest, but now it is just a variant under monitoring. Dati, pinag-iinteresan, pero ngayon, binabantayan na lang kung lalaki, lalala, etc. In other words, it is not something to be alarmed. Be concerned, but not be alarmed. Okay. And in relation to that, okay, ayan po, picture, in relation to the Metro Manila Mayor's recommendation, the Philippine Star featured a person wearing face mask and face shield, and on the bottom part, a father carrying his son, both wearing face mask, entering a bus because they have now been allowed to ride bus. Minors are now allowed to take jeepneys, buses, and taxi cabs. Okay, let's go back to the headline, to the front page. DOH warns of possible rise in cases. We already mentioned that yesterday, but again, the Department of Health has reiterated its reminder to the public. Please be careful. Please observe public minimum health standards because we still have COVID at baka bigla raw tumama. There is a possibility from level 2, we could go back to level 3 or 4 because if people are not careful, COVID-19 easily spreads. Kumbaga, parang tina, madaling mantsahan ang puti. Okay, let's go back to the front page. And we have the tally of COVID cases, tally of COVID-19 cases in the Philippines. The number is still playing tug of war in the 2,000 area. It's 2,087. But the good news, and well, good news, bad news, deaths have gone down to double digits instead of three-digit numbers, because it's now only down to 91 people that died from COVID-19 yesterday. Paalaala lang po doon sa mga hindi bakunado. Some of you think you want to play safe, you're not going out, etc. I've already lost several friends who said that, and they are now dead. They now belong to the number of 44,521 Filipinos, and many of them are young, hindi po senior citizen, mga bata pa na namatay sa COVID-19. Okay, let's go back to the front page. And here we go, the National Telecommunications Commission, that's who oversees the operations of radio stations in the Philippines, suspends a radio show featuring Roddy Impersonator. Pero actually po, ang sinuspend ay yung operations ng DWHIFM, not because of the Roddy Impersonator, kasi medyo catchy nga naman, ano? Pero the truth is, because their temporary permit had expired, they did not have a studio to transmitter license, and medyo it became a cause of concern for the many listeners of the program, because the segment President Lodi, where the host, June Alegre, mimics President Duterte, was such a hit, biglang nawala, biglang na off-air. Pero babalik naman daw po on the web, on the internet. So, that's a very interesting development in the Philippines. People closed ABS-CBN and they said, that's it. That's the end of that network. But it's online, it's on Facebook, etc. It's on cable. So sabi nga doon sa ano ba yun, sa Bible, while they were oppressed, they multiplied. Okay, so let's go back to the front page of the Philippine Star. DTI to promote Noche Buena goods maintaining prices. Okay, let's be clear about this, okay? The Department of Trade and Industry will help promote products, Noche Buena products that maintain their prices. Yung hindi magtataas, brands and products that do not increase prices during the pre-Christmas rush, the DTI will help them by publishing the name of their company, products, their in units available, and the sizes. Kumbaga, tutulungang ipaalam sa Pilipino yung mga gumagawa ng mabuti at hindi nagtataas ng presyo. Okay. And I believe that, okay, we go now to that photo. Tuloy pa rin ang Pasko according to Robinson's Land Corporation and Robinson's Mall. And they have the Crimson Garden inspired attraction with a 40-foot Christmas tree by animated ano ba ito, may mga butterflies, etc. It's I'm sure the kids would love it. It'll be colorful. Kanya lang po, no? Parang awa, just appeal to all these companies. Can we just keep the Christmas tree either green or white? Kasi parang ano yan, eh, parang, nagmukhang ano, eh, nagmukhang Chinese festival, New Moon Festival. Anyway, just a thought because, I noticed that quickly and I'm sure others will. Okay, going back to the news on the front page, Senate bill wants fuel tax collection suspended. Senator Grace Poe has added her proposed bill into the numerous outcry that when the price of oil per barrel exceeds a certain limit, in this case $800 per barrel, the government should suspend its tax collections para naman daw po magmura ng as much as 10 pesos per liter ang gasolina. Last but not the least, on the front page, the United States has lifted the COVID travel ban, I think, which was imposed by then President Donald Trump. Okay? The U.S. now opens its doors to non-U.S. citizens wishing to travel, visit the United States, primarily from Canada, Mexico, and Europe, and other select countries. And yan po ang inaabangan ng marami in that part of the world. So let's move on to today's agenda. Our guest for today is someone who is very well known. He is running for senator. But before I do that, allow me to refresh the public's mind regarding his professional qualifications because marami pong tumatakbo ngayon. There are many people running for public office who merely comply with the minimum standards. However, our guest for today was formerly a vice governor of Cotabato from 1998 to 2010. He also served as governor of Cotabato within that period. He is a farmer, a veteran local government chief executive, a broadcast, seasoned print and broadcast journalist, and he also served as a Secretary of Agriculture and currently or recently served as chairman of the Mindanao Development Authority from August 2019 to 21. And he also is known as the former Secretary of Agriculture, who is now seeking a post in the 2022 senatorial elections. We have with us this morning Secretary and hopefully Senator Manny Piñol. Okay, Secretary Manny Piñol, bilib ako sa shirt mo, sir. Meron pang picture mo. Talagang ina-advertise mo yung pagtakbo mo.
Pinagawa nung pinagawa ng mga tao ko, sinuot ko, wala akong maisuot.
Walang maisuot. Sa dami, hindi mo malaman na isusuot mo. Okay, sir. Nice to see you after such a long time. Now, I don't know which one to ask first. Tatanungin ba kita tungkol doon sa position mo dati as chairman of the Mindanao Development Authority? Pero siguro, I think the more interesting part is what possessed you to run for the Senate, Mr. Secretary?
I also asked myself that question a lot of times actually, Cito, before I decided. Actually, yung aking posisyon as chairman of the Mindanao Development Authority assured me of a fixed term at dapat ay August 5, 2025 pa magtatapos yung aking termino, no? Kanya lang nung makita ko na except for siguro John Castriciones, who is also a farmer like me, you know, mukhang kulang yung representasyon ng sektor ng agrikultura at pangingisda sa ating lineup o yung mga naka-file ng certificates of candidacy.
Mm.
Last 10 minutes, sabi nila, no, kung sa basketball last 2 minutes, sa last 10 minutes, I was finally prevailed upon by a group of young farmers who had been convincing me as early as 2019 to join the quest for a seat in the Philippine Senate to champion Philippine agriculture and address the problems confronting our farmers right now and our food producers.
Mhm.
Finally, noong mga 10 days before the start of the filing, I decided, sabi ko, sige na. Anyway, I'm going into this battle, Sito, without
Mhm.
any baggage, without any fear in my heart. Sabi ko nga sa sarili ko, if I should prevail, if I should win, I will serve to the best of my ability. And people know how hard I work. No? I wake up
Mhm.
at 3 o'clock in the morning, 3:30, and start working already. And I have toured the whole country, actually, as Secretary of Agriculture, from Itbayat, Batanes to Turtle Islands. If I should
Mhm.
lose, I'll be a happy farmer once again. Wala akong problema, but I'm offering myself to the Filipino people
Mhm.
uh, with my advocacy on pagkain at trabaho, food and jobs. And I believe that food is the prime concern of our country right now, along with jobs. No? Alam mo, bago ako umalis sa Mindanao Development Authority, we asked UNDP to help us conduct a study on the impact of COVID-19 on the lives of our people, in Mindanao at least. No?
Mhm.
And what came out from that study conducted by an NGO called SERDEF, no? Tatlong concerns ng ating mga tao. Number one, pagkain. Kasi noong tumama ang COVID, ang immediate reaction natin was to contract, no? Was to close our borders, and even other countries actually prevented the shipment of their food items. For a while, Vietnam announced that it was not exporting its rice because it was reserving it for its own people. And
Mhm.
so ang problema natin in a pandemic like COVID-19, where the supply chain is disrupted, the first concern of people would be where to get food. No? And this was actually the concern expressed by the respondents to that study. The
Mhm.
second concern was jobs. And alam mo to, Sito, ilan ang nawalan ng trabaho dahil sa mga restrictions on movement,
Mhm.
and because of the restrictions on movement, napila yung mga negosyo, yung mga restaurant nagsara, yung mga hotel nagsara, pati public transport, ilang drivers ang nawalan ng trabaho. And also it affected our overseas Filipino workers because the companies that they work for actually were also affected by the economic crisis brought about by COVID-19. And so
Yes.
ang concern ng mga tao natin, ng mga Pilipino, uh, trabaho, how sustainable could our jobs be? And third na concern na lumabas, yung health security. Kasi even in the face of the Universal Health Act that we passed in the Senate, nakita natin do sa COVID-19 na mukhang palso yung ating health insurance system. May kaibigan akong namatay, naikwento ko na ito, no?
Mhm.
Ah, namatay ng COVID, naiwan na utang sa ospital 1,000,000. Now, saan kukuha ng 1,000,000 ang isang ordinaryong pamilya? And so ang sinasabi ko nga, uh, in my advocacy right now, I would like to make sure that the Philippines, through enabling legislations that would create the proper environment and atmosphere for food production, the needed infrastructure, should be passed so that whatever happens, the country will have enough food in times of crisis. And I always bear in mind that biblical story about Joseph the Dreamer,
Mhm.
na talagang naghanda ng 7 taon. During the years of bounty, he saved food because
Mhm.
he wind of a famine that was forthcoming. And I
Yeah,
think
but
there
how
can
will
be
you resolve that, Secretary? Because I mean, I have to be honest about that. I admire that proposal, that proposition, but this country is also controlled by certain very influential business people who believe that this country should depend on importation and not local production. Kumbaga, yung rice tariffication natin has essentially boiled to nothing but importation. Our hog industry has been decimated by imported contaminated products and now is being replaced by imported byproducts and products.
well, actually, Sito, ang isa sa mga basic flow siguro right now in our society is the fact that the greater number of Filipinos actually uh, is not represented in
Mhm.
areas or in places or in agencies which would craft policies and legislations to address all of these problems. That's why I'm presenting myself. I'm not gonna assure everybody that I could change the
Yeah,
world or
yeah.
change the whole country, but marami na nakukulitan sa akin. In fact, kinakantyawan nila ako. Balik daw ako ng balik dun sa sinasabi ko na the Philippines could be food sufficient. And
Mm.
I have been the receiving end of brickbats and jokes, no, and even ridiculed.
Mhm.
Pero simple lang ang sasabihin ko sa isito. Sino diyan ang hindi naniniwala na magiging food sufficient ang Pilipinas? I'll tell you this story. Simple no, comparative statement, no. Israel, a young country, only has an area of 2.2 million hectares. 60% of that area is desert.
Mhm.
They have a rainfall pattern which gives them a rainfall of about 360 millimeters every year. They only have five major rivers, one of which is Jordan River, na kung saan binindigan yung ating Panginoon.
Mm.
Compare that to the Philippines. Yung area ng Israel actually, Cito, 2.2 million hectares, is the area of only two provinces in Mindanao, Bukidnon and Lanao del Sur.
Mm.
Ang ating rainfall is 4,000 millimeters. Ang ating
Okay.
ilog, 1,000.
Yeah.
Ang
So
ating
clearly, yeah, clearly
now,
we are blessed. We are
let
blessed.
me continue. No.
Okay.
Let
No,
me
no.
just stress one point.
Sige. Sige.
In spite of that, Israel exports and we import. Why?
Mhm.
Why?
Is it because our lawmakers don't understand anything about agriculture? Or is it because our government treats our farmers as the traditional magsasakang pulube and does not invest? Because, when you listen to UP Los Baños, DOST, they claim that the research is ongoing, the developments, the product developments have been happening. Where is the problem?
Well, the problem is in the mindset of each and every one of us. You see, yung naririnig ko na nagsasabing, never mind agriculture, it's dying anyway.
Mhm.
Teka muna, pag dying ang agriculture, lahat tayo mamamatay. Because there is no nation on earth that will survive without agriculture.
Mhm.
And yet we take things for granted. Look at the way we allocate the budget, the national budget. Of the 5 trillion or so budget for 2022, only about 2.5% is allocated for agriculture.
You were a former Secretary of Agriculture.
Yes.
What was your experience with that mindset? Because one would assume yung budget, kayo rin naman ang nagpre-prepare, kayo ang nagsasubmit at inaaprubahan or dinidisaprubahan ng Kongreso at ng Senado.
Actually,
What was your...
let me correct that, no.
Mm.
Ah, ang success ng proposal ng isang ahensya actually ay depende sa appreciation ng isang committee na ang tawag is DBCC. No? What is DBCC? It's Development Budget Coordinating Council, or
Council.
DB. It's composed of DOF, DBM,
Mhm.
NEDA, OP, and parang additional member ang BSP.
Mhm.
Sila yung nagsasabi, okay, your proposal is good. No? That's why, if you remember, there were instances where the president, in full cabinet meeting, was declaring that he would give support to Philippine agriculture. Kung ano ang hingi namin, 200 billion, whatever. No? So we
Mhm.
also proposed programs amounting to the figure mentioned by the president, only for that amount to be chopped down to about 49 billion, 50 billion by the DBCC.
Down
Now,
to 25%.
of course, no. Now, maski ano pa kagandang project mo, like say for example, rice sufficiency. Could we have achieved rice sufficiency? Yes. And I'll explain to you why. Alam mo, ang area natin na tinatanaman ng palay is 4.8. No, hina-harvestan ng palay rather, no. Harvested area is 4.8 million hectares. Only 1.6 million of that is irrigated. Okay? Now, noong pag-upo ko as Secretary of Agriculture, ang kaagad kong ginawa, because tingin ko napakadali nung rice sufficiency. Because of that computation in my mind, no? Pinatawag namin yung lahat ng outstanding farmers all over the country, rice farmers all over the country. For the first
Mm.
time, yung mga farmers ang nag-lecture, kami ang nakinig. Doon namin ginawa yan sa UPLB. No? And in that forum, 6 or 8 farmers from all over the country, all outstanding rice farmers, were asked to share with us their experiences. And we asked them a very simple question. Bakit samantalang ang ating national average is 4 metric tons per hectare per harvest, bakit kayo umaani kayo ng 8, 10, 12, 14, meron pang 16
Mm.
na tonelada sa isang hektarya? Simple lang ang sagot ng mga magsasaka. Sir, sufficient po yung aming irrigation, maganda po yung aming bini, mataas po ang ani, high-yielding seeds, sapat po ang aming fertilization, at dahil magandang presyo, ginaganahan kaming magtanim. So, 4
Mm.
yun. Irrigation, okay? Number 2, fertilization, at of course, yung high-yielding seeds, and yung profitability of farming, because that is what determines the planting intentions of our farmers. So kinompute ko yon. Nag-target
Mm.
kami, gumawa kami ng programa, masagana 6,000. Ibig sabihin, from 4 metric tons a year per hectare, we were
Mhm.
targeting 6 metric tons by addressing the concerns of the farmers, irrigation, and so on and so forth. Okay, humingi ako ng budget. I asked for a 60 billion budget over the next 3 years, sapagkat ang sabi ko sa presidente, by the year 2000, sabi ko 2020 rather, sorry, by the year 2020, we will be able to achieve, at least we'll be hovering in the 96-98 sufficiency level, which to my mind is already a comfortable level. Okay?
Mm.
We did not get that money. In
Okay.
fact,
Sec, ganito lang, no? Please hold that kasi it will go to the question I will ask you regarding your fight with the Economic Council of PRRD. But let's go for a quick break. When we return, pag-usapan natin yan kasi parang yan yung, that is the issue that keeps popping up, that you had a major difference of opinion with the economic cluster. We'll be right back here on Agenda. Welcome back to the program agenda. I'm your host, Cito Beltran, and joining us this morning is former Secretary of Agriculture Manny Piñol, who is running for the elected position of Senator in 2022. Sec Manny, I will just ask you to give brief answers because there's so many questions, so little time. Okay, on many occasions, it has been reported that you have had real fights or strong arguments with the economic cluster. Is it because, as you have pointed out twice in the last few minutes, that they have chopped down all of your requests from 200 billion baka mo yun, binigay lang sa'yo was 50 billion from 60 million for the rice, etc.
Okay. Yes, actually, hindi naman personal na away actually. And I understand where they're coming from, Sito. No?
Mm,
Actually, there has always been this eternal conflict between the economist and the agriculturist. Kasi yung economist is concerned with the numbers right away. No?
mm,
So, ang tinitingnan ng mga economic managers, yung quarterly inflation number. Yung agriculturist kasi understands that you cannot overturn or you cannot improve agriculture overnight. Kasi wala
mm,
namang niyog na 'pag tinanim mo ngayon na bagong variety, and you know this, you're a farmer, no? Kapag
mm,
nag-introduce ka ba ng bagong variety ng niyog ngayon, bukas mamumunga na? No, you have to wait
mm,
for 5 years. And that was what I kept on explaining to the president and to the members of the cabinet. Of course, directed to the economic managers for them to understand that
mm.
while agriculture, we're doing the best we could in the area of agriculture, hindi dapat i-grading yung aming performance based on the quarterly inflation numbers. Kasi sabi ko,
Mhm.
halimbawa, pag upo ko, the last soil survey before I assumed office was conducted 40 years ago. And so we had to come up with a national soil survey, and we were able to put up now active online a website called the National Color Coded Farmers Guide Map or Agriculture Guide Map. No? Na
Mm,
pag pinindot mo yung lugar mo, makikita mo yung produkto na pwede mong itanim, at kapag pinindot mo yung saging, ituturo ng mapa sa iyo by color kung saan do sa area mo pwede mong itanim yung saging. Ganon ka-basic. No? Number
mm.
two, we asked the Food and Agriculture Organization to help us conduct a study, the National Food Consumption Quantification Study. Why is this important? Because long-term ang agriculture, food security, food sufficiency, food sovereignty is a long-term program. It's not just about food on the table tomorrow, today, tomorrow, next week, or next month. It's
Mm.
about ensuring that there is enough food for the next generation to come. That's how I look at agriculture.
Okay. How will becoming a senator help you turn the tables around?
No, actually, I do not expect to create miracles. No?
Mm,
Bakuhin lang natin yung pananaw natin. Number one, agriculture and fisheries actually are potential job-generating industries. Kaya
mm,
lang ang problema natin, we have not elevated our farming and our fishing from marginal and subsistence farming and fishing into the level of industrial activities.
why?
Kaya ngayon, yung ating copra, yung ating coconut industry, yung ating mga coconut farmers, ang tawag namin doon sa Bisaya, tiglukit lang gihapon og kopras. Pagkatapos niyang tanggalin yung kopra doon sa bao,
Mm,
next na nagko-control yung mamimili na, wala na siyang pakialam. And
mm,
so until such time na hindi natin nakumpleto yung value chain, Sito, we
mm.
will never be able to
Yeah,
industrialize our
yeah,
agriculture.
but they were talking about that when I was in college. They were already talking about value chain. Eh,
Yes,
ganun pa
but
rin.
pero walang suporta ng gobyerno eh. You go to the bank, merong isang grupo ng mga farmers na coconut, for example, or I was in Albay, and
Mm,
I dropped by at a meeting of RIC presidents from all over Albay. And they were talking about their cacao program, their chocolate program. Sabi ko, hanggang tableya lang kayo. Kasi you cannot
mm,
possibly go to the land bank or DBP and apply for a loan to set up a factory that would produce chocolate bars. Just like our coffee, for example. bakit hindi umaasenso yung ating coffee industry? Because hanggang giling-giling lang tayo, specialty coffee, Batangas coffee, nasa supot. How can we compete with Nestle if we don't have a processing facility supported by government that would
Okay.
industrialize our coffee
You
industry?
have all the ideas, you have all the know-how and the experience, but do people even know that they should vote Manny Piñol for senator? Kasi nandyan ka. Where are you right now? You're in Cotabato?
No, I'm in Manila right now.
Okay.
I have a photo session in my party headquarters today. Kaya
Okay,
naman nandito
okay.
ako.
Okay. But how will people find out that Manny Piñol? Kasi, I mean, in fairness, when you were secretary, kilalang kilala ka. You were very active. You were all over the place. Sabi mo nga, from Apari down to Turtle Islands. Pero ngayon, medyo, sabi nga no iba, ano nangyari kay Manny? Parang nilagay yata siya sa sa seminaryo.
Actually, my decision to run for the Senate, Cito, was
Hmm.
prompted by the call from the agriculture sector for them to be represented. And so, while I am not going to tell you that I'm going to win these elections for sure, I have a
Mm-hmm.
specific constituency.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the agri and fisheries sector, who really would like to see that their voices, their concerns, their grievances are ventilated in a proper venue where it could be transformed into policies or legislations which would change the course of their industries, of their lives. You know? So uh, virtually, I have created a boxing ring where I don't think anybody could get into and compete with me, no? Modesty aside.
Mm-hmm.
Because hindi naman ako nagsasabing ako lang magaling Sito, but I'm a farmer. I fully understand this business.
Well,
This
you made that clear when you said now we cannot compete if the banks don't support, the government don't support. Kasi you and I have engaged each other for some time when you were secretary, and back
yes,
then we were struggling with ASF,
yeah,
and you left. When did you leave
DA,
the
DA.
DA?
I submitted my resignation June 26 of 2019. My replacement was named August 5, 2019. So effectively, I left the Department of Agriculture officially August 5, 2019.
Yeah, and by December 2020, I had essentially shut down my backyard hog racing because we got wiped out by ASF, and we just felt na this is pointless. Nag-shift naman kami sa game foul sa pansabong, and parang double jeopardy. You see, the hog racers have no representation. They went into dog racing, chicken racing, cockfight racing, fighting cock racing, and now meron na namang ban or
Alam mo,
closure.
narinig ko si former Congressman Nicky Briones yesterday, no? And he was
Okay.
bewailing the fact that until today, while the Department of Agriculture is saying that the number of ASF cases had gone down, sabi niya patuloy daw nananalasa ang ASF. Siguro
Mm.
bumaba yung incidents kasi kakunti lang baboy, no? Uh,
Yeah.
konti na lang baboy na napapatay ng ASF, no? But, you know, looking back, I believe there was some tactical mistake in the way they handled ASF actually.
Yeah.
Uh, and if you compare that, hindi ako nagmamagaling sito, no? But I always confer with people, no? And I
Yeah.
coordinate and I work in a team actually. Nung tinamaan kami ng bird flu, we were able to control it in what? 30 days, 45 days. In fact,
Mm.
after we controlled it, we brought the president to Pampanga at kumain kami ng balot at saka manok. No? But we
Mm.
had the help of the local government officials of Pampanga, specifically Governor
Okay.
Lilia led at
So
that time. No?
yeah, so our problem now is this, okay? Clearly, you've established a fact yung representation issue. Kasi like ito, I know you're a sabongero. You're actually, well, not a sabongero but a
A very
breeder
well breeder. Yeah, I
You're
think
a
so.
breeder, no?
Yeah.
Ngayon, what's your reaction? Wala nang nangyari sa piggery. Pagkatapos ngayon, binan pa itong mga cockpits and cockfights. And you were mentioning about constituency. I know people who at least I think 200 to 300,000 are asking for representations kasi sabi nila bakit puro na lang online sabong, ayaw buksan yung traditional sabong. And you were saying something about the traditional view of these sectors in agriculture.
Actually, let me just qualify, Sito, no? Actually, sabi ko nga, I'm a farmer. And normal sa aming mga farmer, may alaga talagang manok yan sa likod ng bahay. I'm a game
Mhm.
farm leader, no? Pero hindi ako nagpupunta ng sabungan. Ever
Mhm.
since I was elected to the office of the governor of North Cotabato, and until the time that I was officially a public official, hindi ako pumapasok ng sabungan.
Bawal.
So hindi naman bawal, but para sa akin, parang I imposed it upon myself, no? Na
Okay.
since public official ako, I should not go to the cockpit, I don't go to the casino, I don't drink, no? Kaya ang aking feeling is that I'm a farmer who loves game fowl breeding because it's part of our tradition. Pero
Mm.
ako, naaawa ako dun sa mga ordinaryong mga game fowl breeders because pati sila apektado, no? Uh, I cannot question the decision of the IATF actually to
Mm.
impose a ban on sabong, no?
Mhm.
Pero since unti-unti nang nanunumbalik yung basketball, yung ibang
Malls.
malls,
Mm.
why can't they consider reopening the municipal cockpits sapagkat ang daming nawalan ng trabaho sito. Nung isang
Yeah.
araw lang, kausap ko
Oh.
yung presidente ng lahat ng mga Kristo sa buong Pilipinas at
Mhm.
nagmamakaawa, "Sir, tulungan mo naman kami. Sana maipaliwanag mo na may pamilya din kami." No? Hindi lang
Mhm.
actually Kristo, sapagkat yung game fowl industry, when I was Secretary of Agriculture, actually Cito, I
Mhm.
declared that the game fowl industry should be considered as an agricultural activity and not a gambling activity, no? Sapagkat
Mhm.
yung game fowl industry, gumagamit yan ng mais, sorghum, lahat ng feed components na pinapakain sa manok galing sa agriculture.
I
And
actually got a PowerPoint presentation from Games and Amusements Board Chairman Baha Mitra, and in that I don't know if our team will be able to post
yep,
it. It says, "Oh,
pakita mo daw, Cito, and let's discuss as
Arvic,
the slides are presented, no?
yeah, because apparently it is considered as a 50 billion peso
More than that,
industry."
more than that. Actually, pinakompute ko,
No.
yung bilang ng mga manok na pansabong, no, na
Mm.
binibreeding ng mga tao ngayon, mga 40 million, no?
Mm.
Eh, presyo mo na lang ng 5,000, that's 200 billion. Manok pa lang
Mm.
yun. Hindi pa kasama ang feeds, yung mga biologics, yung sweldo ng tao, and so on and so forth. Tama yan, no? So,
Mhm.
there are, what, 30,000 breeders nationwide? I agree with that, no? 40 million game fowls. I-value mo na lang yun ng maski tag 5,000, that's 200 billion, no? And
Mhm.
naandyan lahat, yung taga-alaga ng manok, yung taga-pakain,
Aba,
yung
kung iboto ka pala ng lahat ng mga ito, ay 500,000, hindi, I'm
appreciate ng mga
serious, no?
sabongero.
Kung iboboto ka lang ng lahat ng taong sabungan at sa mga sabungero, that would be about 500 million votes, or hindi, half a million votes.
100,000. Yeah.
500,000, may labang ka na ba nun?
Of course, every vote counts actually, no?
Hmm.
Lahat naman ng boto kailangan mo, eh.
Yeah,
Ah,
but why is it that the government has seemed to ignore this economy? This is, sabi mo nga, 200 billion, manok pa lang. Yung
mhm.
industry, 50 billion, yung mga gamot,
Biologics,
pagkain.
yeah.
Yeah. Let's go for a quick break, Secretary. And when we return, can you please address why the government fails to recognize this, particularly on sa IATF? We'll be right back here on Agenda. Okay, welcome back to the program agenda, and we are having an animated conversation with former Secretary of Agriculture Manny Piñol running for senator in 2022. Okay, what's the problem, Secretary? Kasi if it's an industry that's generating, round it off na, 250 billion a year, bakit minamaliit ng gobyerno and while they allow the opening of beauty parlors, barber shops, massage, ayaw payagan itong mga sabungan na ito.
Well, hindi naman siguro minamaliit, baka kulang lang siguro talaga yung pagpapaliwanag. Na just
Mhm.
like basketball, the attendance in a municipal cockpit, for example, which employs a lot of people, could also be regulated, no?
Mhm.
Kaya nga ang problema ngayon, kaya lang ang problema ngayon, wala pang ganong appreciation kung gaano kalaki ang tulong nito sa ekonomiya. Lalo na ngayon na walang trabaho yung mga tao, ito dapat maipaliwanag lang. Actually
Is it
nagkaroon siguro yes, go ahead.
Is it really an issue of ignorance or is it protectionism? Kasi I think you cannot deny the fact that the PAGCOR is collecting 75 million a month from each operator of online sabong. Now, wala po tayong away dun sa online sabong. But when the national government, I'm writing a column on it, becomes the biggest sabong lord in the Philippines, I think the sabongeros will now have issue kasi parang we're all losing our businesses, our jobs, our income, while the national government ni isang balahibo walang kapital, sila pa ngayon ang kumakabig ng bilyong-bilyong piso.
Actually merong konting legal issues diyan, no, but I'm not a lawyer.
Mm.
I'm looking at this issue actually from somebody who understands a little law, no.
Mhm.
Ah, ang pagkakaalam ko sa batas, ang puwede lang magbigay ng permit sa sabong is yung LGU,
Yes.
city and munisipyo. Now, why was a company or a corporation or a group given a franchise to conduct sabong? Is that under is that part of the mandate of the national government?
Mhm.
It's a legal issue actually. But look, wala naman tayong problema do'n, sinasabi mo nga kumikita yung gobyerno, pero
Mhm.
dapat hindi nila pigilin yung activities sa localities, 'no, yung mga sabong sa munisipyo, na munisipyo ang may nagbibigay ng permit, 'no. These
Mhm.
are things actually that could be managed just as we were able to manage yung basketball and other group
Yeah.
sports. Uh,
Are you still on good terms with President Duterte? Nakapagpaalam ka ba ng mabuti at kasi that would determine whether or not you could still manage to influence policy because like Joey Concepcion has really he's like a pit bull. He will not let go of something he wants to accomplish and agriculture, whether it's for sabong, for rice farmers, etc., they need a voice because, sorry, there is no voice like Joey Concepcion. And how is your relationship with PRRD?
Actually, personal na relasyon, malalim.
Mm-hmm.
Kasi siya lang ang nag-iisang ninong nung aking, anak na lalaki. So malalim
Mm-hmm.
yung relasyon. Ngayon, sa pulisiya ng gobyerno, meron akong, hindi pagkakasundo sa kanyang mga economic managers and he knows that 'no.
Mm-hmm.
Sabi ko nga pati yung, rice tarification, another yung minsan yung mga policies ng IATF na, kulang sa malalim na pag-aaral tulad nung,
Mm-hmm.
barrier sa motorsiklo 'no.
Mm-hmm.
And this one again, yung 'tong sabong na ito 'no, bakit mo naman paghahabulin yung mga nagsasabong dun sa barangay, sa puno ng, rubber 'no, na wala namang problema sa COVID siguro yun.
Mm-hmm.
As I've said earlier, Cito, this issue could be managed. And let us not take away from those who benefit from this activity the chance of earning something in this
Mm-hmm.
time of crisis. And I'm appealing to our IATF officials to reconsider this decision of banning cockfighting in the provinces, in the municipalities altogether. Because ang lumalabas, pinagdududahan kayo na nagbibigay kayo ng protection doon sa online sabong, which is 23 hours a day, 7 days a week. And actually, it's open to the access of even youngsters, no, even minors. And Wow, reported to me because hindi naman ako nagsasabong sa online, hindi nga ako nagpupunta na sabungan, no? Na pati yung mga OFWs actually are suffering because of this non-stop sabong na 23 hours a day, no?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Baka
Okay.
pwedeng natin.
May nasagap ka na ba na report? Kasi padalas kong nababalitaan na meron daw grupo claiming to be close to the president who are only waiting for someone to give them enough lobby money para mabalik daw ang sabong sa mga traditional cockpits.
What do they mean by lobby money? I mean by reply. Because
I'm just
uh,
being polite,
I don't know.
Secretary.
I don't
Ah,
know. I mean,
wala ka pa
you
nasasagap.
can't do that to Digong, no? Hindi
No,
ko
no, not the
sinasabing
president, not the
hindi ko
president, pero
sinasabing sa palibot, no, walang
yun.
korapsyon, no? Hindi ko
Mm,
sinasabing sa palibot walang korapsyon. Pero
mhm.
in-approach mo si Digong nun, baka sampalin ka pa nun, no?
Okay.
Yun ang totoo, no? So,
Mm,
people who claim that they could make things happen if you cough up a certain amount of money may
mhm.
just be exaggerating and maybe doing that for their own benefit.
Okay, now last question. Why did you choose to run with Ping Lacson and Tito Soto?
Well, two reasons. One, or rather three. Number one, original talaga ako na Nationalist People's Coalition. When I was governor, I was NPC. No?
Okay.
Number two, kaibigan ko ang Pangulo, personal. No?
Mhm.
And hindi ako pwedeng sumama sa isang grupo na inaatake siya. Because Pilipino ako, utang na loob, hindi naman ako makikilala sa buong Pilipinas kung hindi niya ako in-appoint na Agriculture Secretary, even for only
Okay.
3 years, and being the chairman. No? So,
Yeah.
nahanap ako ng grupo na aatake man, high level. Ibig sabihin issues-based,
Mm.
hindi yung
Okay.
personal. And I found that sa grupo ni Ping Lacson. And the
Okay.
third, lahat naman niya kaibigan ko, si Isko kaibigan ko, si Manny kaibigan ko, si Bongbong kaibigan ko rin, no? Si Lenny hindi ko masyado kilala. I wish them all well, no? Pero
Mhm.
totoo lang, while he is down in the ratings, ako sa tingin ko sito, in these critical times, we need a leader who is experienced in crisis management
Mhm.
and level-headed, hindi pa bigla-bigla ang desisyon at hindi makikinig sa chuchu, no?
Mhm.
Yung tinatawag nilang walang wibulong brigade, no? At yan nakita ko kay Ping. His
Okay.
chances are slim, but that doesn't mean to say that he cannot win these elections.
But clearly, dehadista ka kasi the chances of President Duterte when he ran was
Yes, of course.
dehado and pumusta ka kay President Duterte. Ngayon, pumupusta ka na naman sa dehado. Anyway, Secretary Piñol, thank you very much for your time this morning and I do wish you all the best at kung hindi man pala rin, magtayo na tayo ng party list ng mga breeder ng sapong. Thank you very much,
Okay,
Secretary.
salamat. Thank you.
Okay, and we now leave you with our blessing for the week. Blessed is the man who trusts in the Lord and whose confidence is in the Lord, for he will be as a tree planted by the waters, who spreads out its roots by the river and will not fear when heat comes. That's from Jeremiah 17, verses 7 and 8. Thank you for joining us here on Agenda, and please keep it on One News PH.